Well, hello and welcome back. Hope everybody can hear me all right. We're broadcasting from my house today because I got a little bit of a cold and wasn't going to go and spread it at MATC. So that's enough about me. Um, Today we switched. We're switching. We're done with elements. Now we're doing principles. So, as I've talked about in the past, the way to think about that is the elements are like the physical parts. Think of like even chemistry and the elements, of our life, hydrogen, oxygen, like those are the building blocks. So the elements are the building blocks. And then the principles are what we do with those building blocks. How do we put them together? How do we arrange them on the proverbial graphic design page? And what are we thinking about when we do it? Uh, and that's what we're going to get into for the last portion of this course. So let's jump in. And as you can see, we are working on balance. So we're going to go over the balance, which is fairly simple. It's fairly would be one of the shorter lectures, I think. We're going to go over balance. Then I'm going to talk about your research. And then we're going to talk about the project, in which I'll teach you a little bit about type if you haven't learned this already. Again, I have to assume in this beginning stage, not everybody's in every course. Then we'll talk about the balance project, and then your new project A part 1, which is the research phase for a poster design. The poster design that you've developed in the layout here, which you'll be working on. But as of now, we're not going to be really designing. We're going to do doing what we call thumbnail sketches. So we'll work with that. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. I skipped ahead here. All right. New design. Hey, it's reversed. The principles of design. We're going to be concentrating on balance. And let's jump in and talk about balance. So there's basically a few pieces that come to with balance, not pieces, but types of balance. And the main one that I think we all go to right away, and I'll talk about this in examples, but the one is symmetrical balance. Bear with me, as I'm on a different system. Symmetrical balance. So what that means is like you cut something, look at somebody's face, and split them right down the middle of the nose. And on one side you have an eye and an ear, on the other side you have an eye and an ear, and then you have one nostril. That's symmetrical balance. It's equal on one side as it is the other. It says a mirror image, or think of a butterfly with identical wings. It's split in half. Very easy. It's easy to do. It's the one we love to do. I may have to change my system. Whoa. But it's like everything's down the middle. Or even if the design is a rectangle, even if you place like objects, objects, objects all down the middle, we call that symmetrical design. And it is what it is, right? I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is what it is. It's symmetrical. It's easy. It's the one we generally jump to right away because it naturally just our minds are just like, it looks correct. The other one, another one that we'll talk about here, asymmetrical balance. Now this is where we're going to put design elements all over the page, and they're not going to be in a perfect order. We're going to have some things over here and some things over there, but in the end it does balance out. But we think about it, so like we may start like with a little thing here, and then something bigger here, and then like a really big thing here. And what this does is it offsets the design, but it makes it more interesting. We're flowing through it. So we would possibly go from like smallest to biggest. And then so the eye goes in a direction with the asymmetrical balance. And it's more interesting to look at. We tend to like want to look at asymmetrical designs longer because our eye does move around it a little bit more than if we had something where you just want 1, 2, 3 and done, or if it's like stuff is on this side. I read that. Stuff is on this side. I read that, and I'm done with it. Here with the asymmetrical balance, we can also get people to go back up to the top and stay within a design and look at it longer. Yes, we have that power when we're designing to be able to do that. It is harder to do asymmetrical balance, but not that much harder. It's just getting the objects to look correct on the page. And that comes with time and practice. And that's why we practice. That's why you're in a graphic design program, is to practice. You don't always know how to do these things right off the bat, but you work with me and the other instructors, and you come up with a design, and then we're like, okay, just move this over here, make that bigger, and change that over here. And we're working with you to get these designs to come out properly. And asymmetrical, even though it's a little bit harder, oh, those designs turn out awesome all the time. They're far more interesting. Then we have one, it's radial balance. So think of a circle, everything radiates from the center, but if you have a design, again, if you have something in the center, and everything kind of goes around it. So that's radial. And you can have like information pieces. This one, I can't say I do all the time. I have an example there. It's a perfect circle. We're gonna, look at that one and how they did it, how they made it radiate out from the center. We just think like records, but you can do some cool stuff with this. I can't say I'm always doing radial design, because for me, as a personal designer, personally when I design, usually you'd have the subject matter in the center and then everything off to the sides. But I think a lot of people end up just looking at the center and not radiating out as much as they should within the design. But that's radial balance, which is really great. And this is the example through. Oh, and yeah, it's like a sunflower. Think of a sunflower and how it radiates out. You can spiral out from the center as well. If it goes out and gets bigger and bigger. So you can also kind of do that. So now, considerations for achieving balance is visual weight. How big or small something is comparatively to the other item. So like a big item is going to carry more emphasis than a small item. And so it depends on like how you place those on the page and where you arrange them. Even though you can have a big item, but have it be not as important as the small items. So maybe you have a ton of little small items comparatively to one big item. Like, how does that look? How does that work for people? It's all about the arrangement. So again, like we're going to be talking now for the last 4 weeks, is all about how do I arrange those elements on the page to create a visual, a harmonious visual balance, be it symmetrical, asymmetrical, radial, however that may be. Contrast. Contrast is like visual weight, but like think about it with lights and darks. You have dark areas that will pull the eye as compared to lighter areas, which may not pull the eye. But it depends on how we're working. What's the background color? How is everything working with that? So that's another way we can use that in helping to achieve that balance, is like splitting pages, making one area darker than the other. We'll see it in some of our examples there. And then spatial arrangement is just the placement of the elements in relationship to each other and how it affects the overall balance. Excuse me, thank you. That's what I just said, though. It says here what I just said. The harmonious composition is what we're doing by arranging things in a certain way on the page to get what we want. Like I said, this is simple. Like there's kind of like just 3, and this is the simplest of the systems. And let's take a look at these examples. All right, this movie, Titanic. All right, as you can see, I'm trying to get it somewhat decent size, but not too big. It is split directly down the middle. Well, let's do that differently. Split right down the middle. And it's like to a crazy point. It's split down the middle. I can pinpoint a bunch of stuff. All right. Uh, how in depth can I get? We have a light side and a dark side. All right. Even though it's very little, we place the man on the dark side, the woman on the light side, and then it's dark here, light here. The word, everything is, except for his name is a little bit longer. Everything is split exactly down the middle. And we have the people up here is lighter. It's darker down here. So we almost have like a quadrant built with this one too. Is it's light, like if you were to do like a graphing, this would be like dark, darkest, lighter, lightest, as it goes around. And we kind of have that series, however you want to follow it. But it's directly split down the middle. I mean, they even did stuff like this, like here's a dark window, here's a light one. Like everything is exactly the same down the line, simple. And it is what it is what it turns out to be. Like, it's pointing up at the people. That's the other thing we can talk about, is like the design is sort of pointing up at these people, which is trying to keep you in line with or in the poster and watching the poster. And then they're sort of looking back down. So it's that arrangement of how are they keeping you on the page with this super symmetrical design. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of this, but it is showing you something that is like so symmetrical. It's like not even funny. Like they just did it and they're like, make it symmetrical and easy. And they're like, bro, we're going to put the boat in the middle, him on one side, her on the other. We're going to light it a little bit and we're done. And it just doesn't seem like it has a ton going on. And that's what I said. That's why balanced, it's very easy to do balance. Very, very easy. Not as easy to do asymmetrical. Here's another balanced one. Let's get my screen a little bit smaller. It's a web page and it's balanced, but it's balanced in a nice way. And then it's also balanced in a set of 3, which when we think of balance, and all my suggestions were like, oh, like a butterfly, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be like this as well, where we have 3 parts. So we start at the top, and it's perfectly, this is down the center again. We go at that and we go perfectly down the center. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we have 1, 2, 3. We're just split this guy in the middle, and then relation to design, like everything is straight down the middle, even though we do have 3 columns. And so again, very, very balanced design. It's a little bit more interesting than this one because it's working in a set of 3 here, and then these correspond about us. They have the people working, and that's awards and competitions, and then exhibitions has like a close-up of a piece that they work on. All works very well, nice and neat. It's from a web page. This is the full web page that we see. But again, very balanced, even though it's a set of 3. And there you go. It doesn't get any more simple than that for layout and understanding what I need to do, what do I need to see, and where. Radial. Everything comes out from the center. We have a big dark and. So when we're talking about here in spatial arrangement and contrast, balancing contrast with elements such as light and dark, what we have here is this big dark middle. It gets your eyeball, boom, goes right here no matter what. And everything kind of radiates out. We have Tabitha and Daniel. We have here script. Wedding is here, and like everything, we have this date and then the time. Everything is perfect, like thought about where does one go and where does the other go. How does the text look? Here, this text, Mr. and Mrs. David Thompson, like perfectly the same text as here, except for this goes around the circle. But in the end, everything is radiating out from the center as we see it. So this is a nice radial design. Asymmetrical. Now this is where it gets fun and interesting, and I really like this stuff a lot more, and it's just because it's more interesting. It's more loosely based, but it really keeps you in the piece and you're looking at it more. So I would say, like, in my mind, if you were to have posters on your wall and you're like movie posters, you would get this movie poster because you love these actors and the movie was good and you just want a reminder of the movie. You get like this, you know, if this was a movie poster, you get this movie poster because you love the design. You know what I mean? So like there's a difference in how those would work together if this is also a movie poster. But we have so many great things working here. So we have a cat. The cat is looking in this direction. And then, which means we get into this. And then we start reading How to Be a Wicked Witch, Godspell's Charm. And we read it all the way to the bottom. Then we have that contrast again, where the only part by Patricia is reversed out in the cat. And then the fun thing is when you read it down, you come to here and you follow the tail back up. Boop. Well, I'm going to follow the tail back up and it circles us back around to read it again. We go down, we go up, and we read again. If we look over the cat, then we also look, where's the cat looking? And we read this again. So there's a ton of ways that they work this image to always keep us looking on the page and circling around. And I think it's just a great little piece. Asymmetrical, very asymmetrical. You know, we have the design on one side, but it carries over to this side. Nothing's centered. We have different size text all over the place. And it's just it's a little bit crazy, but it's far more interesting to look at and to, you know, view than, for me, than this, which is just like, yeah, okay, Titanic, the movie, nothing on earth could come between them. Great, done. This one, I'm like looking around, I'm looking at the eyes, like even the whiskers can be like thought of like they're taking you into the space. So much fun with this piece, so much more fun. And then the other asymmetrical piece, which is asymmetrical and symmetrical almost at the same time. We have this big giant circle in the middle, right? Then what we have is we have these lines coming in. They're all, this is just slightly off center. It's this line right there is not perfectly centered on the page. This is, I think I've measured it, is pretty centered. But what we have is to draw you off of this being centered is this orange circle. The orange circle doesn't have anything in it, right? You're looking at, there's no information in this orange circle. But what we like to do as designers is design in threes, and it helps bring the eye around. So I design this, if I design this, I'd be thinking, I'm doing this orange target, which gets you to read University of Cumbria and continuity. But then I have this orange circle here, which I think, why is there orange here? But then that brings you down to here and here. So it's 1, 2, and 3, asymmetrical. And then I always like this guy right down here that you find later on. That's pretty interesting. And to follow the design, you can also use the lines. The lines are coming down, that are in, and then down. And you're trying to find all the ways in this asymmetrical design to get people to read all the information on the page. And that's how this one works. And there's another one coming up that does something similar with this orange dot. And I love it when people kind of do something like that. It's like so kind of like abstract, but makes so much sense. And like, how am I supposed to read this information? But you kind of like, I'm always looking at this orange and I always kind of like look in this area. But then I know like boom, boom, and I get all the information I need. Here you have the, you know, this dot to this, and then maybe to this. But overall, to me, I think it's a very cool design, and I like that. Again, I'd rather have this on my wall than like that on my wall. Like this, I can keep looking at. This, I read it and I'm done. And that's why I think there's so much power when we talk about symmetrical and asymmetrical designs. Any questions? All right. Pretty self-explanatory, I think, but I still, we got to go over it. I'm not just going to leave everybody hanging. All right. First project, the balance research. We are back to Adobe Illustrator. As we've done, I'm going to move over and I'm going to burn through this. I have to just kind of move some screens around. And let's make it new file. You guys, you should all be getting good at this. Print. And I'm going to change it to inches. And I'm going to do 16 by 9. 16 tab 9. One artboard, horizontal, bleed, 0.5 tab. And then I go to create. Again, some of you have been doing 2 pages. Excellent work for those of you who've been doing 2 pages. I didn't teach that. That's a little more advanced. I just want you guys to get used to using the system itself. All right, now I'm going to create this layer, call it margin. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And for me, I'm just going to knock it out. So I got to move my little monitor there. 15 by 8. So I'm going to go to my transform. And all this is like once you start in this area, you don't leave this area. Meaning like you do all the things at once here. I want fill. I don't want any fill. Sorry. Stroke. Magenta. Make sure it's 1 point. Pass it. And then for here, it's aligned to artboard. Then I hit that. Then I hit that. And I'm perfectly centered. I did something wrong. Something's not looking right. Oh, this switched. Oh, because I have that. So if something happens in which, I don't know if you just saw that. So if I type 15 now, it goes correct. If this has chains, that means that these are linked together. So if I change this from 6 to 16, the lower number is going to change. Watch it change. So it's changing those in proportion. So if you run into that problem, it's because that was, and you don't want those linked. So you want it 15 tab 8. And that's correct. Sometimes the little nuances that we forget to double check, and that's what it was. All right, so create a margin, draw boxes 15 by 8, use a 1 point stroke, center the box perfectly on the artboard, turn on the ruler and pull 1 vertical and 1 horizontal guide. My ruler's already on, and I'm going to pull right to that dot. I'm going to pull 1 right to that dot so I know where the center of my artboard is. It's always good to see that. Then I'm going to click on the hamburger menu. I'm going to go to template and leave that. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to call it crop marks. Make it the size of the artboard. Now, don't forget to turn off everything. I don't want any pink. Everybody's been doing well. So I'm going to make sure it's 16 by 9 perfectly. I don't want any color on that. And then I'm just going to go to FX. Third one down is crop marks. My crop marks popped up. There we go. Then I'm going to create a layer. Now you can do this however you want. Like clicking around here becomes somewhat habity. Like if you have a layer that's turned on and you hit add a layer, it'll put that on top. It'll put it above margin. Sometimes I just click here and refresh it and then move. I don't know why. It's just like a weird thing that you kind of some habits start and it doesn't really make sense, but it doesn't hurt anything either. It's like if I don't want anything, if I had a bunch of stuff and I didn't want anything selected, sometimes I click on off the artboard instead of going to deselect. It's just quicker for me to just tap somewhere and then it doesn't group anything. So then we make our layer called titles. our layer called images and our layer called background. So if the background, if you want it to be funky, you just like, when you do the background's gonna be last. And let's put in, and when I do my background, I'm pulling my background all the way out to the bleed. And then I'm gonna make it light orange. So that's why we do that. Because then if I cut, I have all this extra room, nothing's gonna happen. I got an image, I go to File, Place, and I'm gonna place that. There we go. Now, again, because this is Illustrator, we crop differently than we do for InDesign. Oh, instead of me doing that, I'm just going to center it, right? Instead of me trying to find the center, I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to show you the difference again. So that's a normal. This is not like, this is going to be unusual. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box around it. Or not around it. I'm going to draw a box. And I'm going to crop off that white. I don't want any white showing. I want to color the edge. And then I'm going to grab both. It doesn't matter if that box is orange, but I'm going to grab both. You go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. And there you are. And I want it down a little bit further. I get a white coming up at the top. So I can use the direct select and then like pull that down a little bit more. Direct select is that one. You have to be clicked off of everything, and you can fine tune. That's the beauty of these. You can fine tune them more and more. You have to zoom in, you have to hold down Shift, and then I'm gonna do a third one. I'm just to save time. I'm gonna make this one small. Now what I can do is, working around, I'm gonna grab, like, what if I grab all three? I know there's space like here and here. It's a ½ inch from the edge, but then I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna distribute my spacing. So now I have equal spacing in between the two, which offsets this poster, which is totally fine. And then I want to make sure, let's make sure they're all centered with each other. How am I working with that? Do I want them centered with each other, or maybe for something new and funky, I want them like this? Like I want, however you want it to be. And then titles, point type again is when you just click it. Area type is when you pull a box. You can change that yourself as well. So this is movie poster with a misspelling. And then I'm gonna hold down Shift. We always hold down Shift. And then I'll change the font to just something I got right up at the top. And that one we're done. Bold. And then if I'm done, but instead of like, whoa, where do I want it? I have to decide. Where do I want it? And if I want it centered, I can do a couple different things. I have to go back to images and make sure that's on. And I'm going to do center align. And then there, see that pop up? That's perfectly centered. And then, I'm just going to call this book cover. And all I did is, so there's two keys to drag this across. I hold down Shift and Alt, and it makes a copy. See how my arrow goes from a black arrow to a black and white arrow? That little white arrow means I'm making a copy of it. And when I drag it over, it's going to be perfectly in line because I'm holding down Shift. And then boom, when I see that, I let go. And then that's now, like, I'll call this book cover, even though it's not, but I'm just working with examples. And then I can do that same thing where I grab this. I can start grabbing, right? I'm going to hold down Shift now and then Alt, and it works. And then I go find that middle there, and then this is B album. And now when I look across, I may be like, album cover's too big. All I do is hit shift. I'm going to go from the corner, but I'm going to hit shift to constrain it and alt again. And then that makes it go smaller from the center point. Less work, right? Just a little tricks and tips, depending on how far along you are in the Illustrator program, is it's all about key commands. And it's all about shift, control, option, and alt, and how you use those keys together to get what you want faster. Like I said, I have a special like little extra key command keyboard that I have that like has them all programmed in. So I'm never, the thing I don't want to always be doing is going up to the top, coming back down, up to the top, coming back down. And if you look, most of these things I have to go have the key commands written next to them. So all you need to do is start to be like, you know what, I'm always copying and pasting. Well, it's Control C, Control V, you know, like paste in front. All of them have key commands, and you just kind of start to learn them when you're like, I'm doing this all the time. It's driving me nuts. Well, figure out the faster way to do it where you can just be like, you know, click, click, done, click, click, done. It's amazing. So once you get to it. So again, that's an overview on how to do this piece. Now let's talk about the project. But before we talk about the project, let's talk about some typography. All right, serif or sans serif. It's very easy. We talk about this all the time. If you're in typography, you should have learned this already for, you know, either 12 weeks in or 8 weeks in or 4 weeks in. Serif, it describes these tails. I guess I don't know what to call them. They're serifs. These parts. This little loop. This foot. This little embellishment here. You know, like all these little parts are the serifs. And serifs are the fancier type. When you read a book, it's generally typeset in a serif. I think they've gone through and they discovered like there's, you know, they can't really tell a difference if people can read one better than the other. So it becomes a design choice on how you use them or not. But I want you to use them in a certain way in the project. But a serif has those little extra little pieces, extra little strokes. It is based off of like if you're doing calligraphy or handwriting, that when people end the write, you know, like if you know, do something, sometimes you'd be like this and you have an I, you know, like, or the S starts a little flourished, and that's where it's built from. When people would handwrite it, they'd add flourishes, and that is a serif. We remove the serif by adding the word sans, which is French for no, basically, sans, without. So if we have it without a serif, it is a sans serif, and these are generally bold. But even here, these aren't bold. These are unbold, but it are sans serif fonts. Helvetica, Arial, Calibri, all these are very popular sans serif fonts. So in the project that we're about to get to, you're going to be doing some parts with a serif and some parts with a sans serif. Let's dig it. Download. All right. I want you using only the supplied words. This is balanced and this is asymmetrical. 3 balanced designs using the words "this is balanced" in a sans serif font. So balanced is sans serif, and the typography should be "this is balanced." Now you can say it more than once. You can use multiples, but it must be sans serif and it must be a balanced composition. This is balanced. It's straight through the middle this way, And if I were to split it, this is balancing it out very well, even though it's, you may be like, well, that's not balanced. But if I would turn this 90 degrees and split it down the middle, it's half the words here, half the words there, and half the words on up or down. It, I guess that's a good thing to state. Like, it's not always split right down this middle. I can split it down this middle. So 3 different balanced designs, just using typography. Try some stuff out. What can you do? And then as you can see on this one, this is asymmetrical. I played around, I made the A big, I stuck this in there, you know, it's real tight, but it's all on this side. And again, just for me personally, I do like looking at this one better. And it's asymmetrical, and it's using a serif font. And you can do whatever you want. I want 3 compositions using a serif font that are asymmetrical designs, like clearly asymmetrical, using this is asymmetrical. Any questions on this one? All right. If you do, you know how to reach out to me. You know how to get a hold of me for this. All right. So yeah, it's a little bit different. We're going to be using type in some of our projects from here on out to just get you playing around with some typography, being able to move it, spin it. You know, you do it all the same things that you do with a regular shape. You can kind of do with the type. You can spin it. You know, don't stretch it, but you can make it smaller. You can make it bigger. You can, you know, separate the A out, so it's still a word. I just took the A because I wanted only the A bigger, so I took the A and typed it itself. So you have to also think of like different funky ways unless to get what you want. There would be no way for me to type that and get it exactly how I wanted without me just typing the A alone and then putting it where I want it. That's the power that you have with these programs. So play around, have some fun, try some different things. This is it. This is the course to like play, play, play. Kind of like you can't do it wrong unless it's not, unless it's wrong. All right. Let's move into the fun one. They're all fun to me. Why isn't it not zooming? There we go. All right. You will be creating a poster for a music festival of your choice. It can be anything. It can be from, it has to be real. It has had to have happened or is going to happen. So, because you need to find information about that. So it's basically whatever, you know, you love, whatever type of music you listen to, whatever type of music you love, find a music festival. A music festival is more than one date. So I'm not looking for somebody who's playing at the Pabst one night. I'm looking for a festival where there's a conglomeration of many, many bands playing over several days in generally a single style of music. One that we have, I believe it is still currently, or I don't know if it's still currently, but it's the world's largest music festival here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, called Summerfest. That is a music festival. All types of music over several days, all different bands. That is a music festival. So pick one that you want to use, your choice. Then you're going to create a presentation, and I want you to just go back to using PowerPoint or Google Slides for this, as I want you to just to gather the information and be less about the design, but I want you to gather information, put it together so you have it all. So when you're ready to make the post, I can check it, and when you're ready to design your poster, we know all your parts and pieces and what you want to do. And don't worry, I'll show you some examples. I have a template to follow. I have student examples, and it should all work out. All right. You discover your music festival. This is what I want you to gather from the internet. The music festival logo. it needs to be the music festival logo, and not just you typing it out. Every, you know, Bonnaroo. Every festival has a logo. All you need to do is type in the name of the festival and type in logo, and then go to images. And then you can find the logo. Let's do. There's the logo. And even some places have even more information, meaning you can go in and like go to the website and find out, like you can find like the high res logo within their website. So, but I'll get to that in a minute. So the music festival logo, a minimum of 3 pictures from the music festival. Make sure they're high res. As part of the advertisement that you're creating, this poster for Summerfest is you need to get people interested in it, right? One of the ways you get people interested in it is showing them what's happening at that festival. So I'm going to find festival pictures. Like, look at crowds. Like, we want to show off. Look at that crowd. Look at that nighttime crowd. Look, we got fireworks. Like, make it exciting. And so I want 3 images from the festival. I want a paragraph about the music festival. You don't have to type it. Don't type it. Go to the website. So if I go to Summerfest and I want all and info, go to info. Dig around and you are going to find information about like Summerfest. Should find where it is on here. It's been a while since I looked. General admission, amphitheater. Oh, the lineup. Oh, experience. You can take stuff from here and give me a paragraph about the music festival. Again, we're creating a poster to attract people, to get them to come to this music festival that may have never heard about the music festival. So that you should have a paragraph. You know, the world's largest music festival takes place in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, featuring, you know, over 3 weekends, 7,000 bands, you know, like you can find that stuff. And it's even if you have a hard time finding it, you can use like just general Google searches, like what is the Summerfest Summerfest is an annual, you know, like use that. That's fine. Since its debut in 1968, you know, like all this kind of cool stuff. You can find the information you need on the internet. So a paragraph about it. Next up, we wanna entice people even more by picking 3 headliners from the music festival. Headliners are the artists that are most prominent in the music festival. It would be the highest end. If Beyonce was there, she'd be a headliner. Some local act would not be a headliner. There's my example. So 3 headliners, the best of the best. I want to know which 3 headliners. And then finally, we got to know the dates. When is this happening? I want to know my schedule's free when I look at this poster, and I want to know what are the music festival dates. So we're going to get that in there as well. Now, finally, draw 6 thumbnail sketches of your music festival poster. The poster is 24 by 36 inches. That means you can just draw 2 by 3 inch square, which is proportional to 24 by 36 inches. Do it on a piece of paper. You can do it digitally. You can do it on a piece of paper, but I do not want you to just go into Illustrator and like start to design the poster. I want you to freely think about the poster without thinking about the computer usage yet. Let's look at some wonderful student examples that we have down here. Oh, first I'll show you the template. This is a template, a baseline template of what you need to include. Project A, your name, class name. Well, research and thumbnails. That's what we're working on now. So I need, in the research, what is the title of the music festival? That'd be good to know that, right? Got a page for the music festival logo. Great. Got a page for the 3 music festival pictures. Again, these are minimums. You want to do 6 pictures, 7 pictures? We have a page for the paragraph, a page for the 3 music festival headliners, a page for the festival dates, and then a page here for the thumbnails. And this could be, you know, a bunch per page. And you can stop there, but if you want, you can go into part 2 and part 3. But I'm just giving you a basic setup of what you need to show me. But even better yet, let's look at what a student has done. All right. Cover page. Great. Rockfest by Anna Quinn for Design 101's Principles. They designed it up, made it look cool, found a template that works for this. Here is the music festival logo. Here are images of people playing at the festival. That's what they chose to do. Here is about the music festival. Here are 3 of the headliners. Here are the dates. And then these are the sketches. Now with the sketches, they included some information. Oh, I'm going to have a texture background, a real hand, and lightning strikes are glowing. Great. So in this poster, everything is present. The date, headliners, the music festival logo. This is for the about paragraph right here. And then these are the 3 images. Now, when you're doing this, a box with an X on it in graphic design speak means that's an image. So all the pieces that we searched for that are listed in the assignment need to be on the poster. The logo, 3 pictures, the about paragraph, the 3 headliners, either typed out and or pictures of, and the dates. All this needs to be represented on your poster. And here it is. Super simple, just baseline. You're getting ideas out. Here's another one. It's like a guitar. There's an image in the guitar. There's 1, 2, 3 headliners, the logo, the about paragraph, and then here's an image. There's an image in a guitar pick, and then there's another image here. The dates aren't on here, but as for now, it's a good start. I'm fine with that. Here's another one. 3 images, 3 headliners, logo, paragraph, dates. And then here's one like a crowd. And they're just, the reason it works so well, and the reason we work with thumbnails, even if you tell me like, but I can't draw, you just want to get the idea out. It can be as simple as this. There's not a lot to this. So you shouldn't be nervous about it. Look how easy this is. Just logo at the top, a date, 3 pictures, the paragraph goes here, and headliner 1, 2, and 3. Here's the final one. Logo, paragraph, picture, 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 headliner 1, 2, and 3, and dates. Kind of like down and dirty. Thumbnails are down and dirty, and they're meant to get you to get the idea onto the page as fast as you can. No worries. Let's look at another one. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. When We Were Young Festival. Here's the logo. Here's 3 pictures. Here's the about. Here are the 3 headliners. Here's the dates. And then their little sketches. Logo, headliners, dates, hands, event pics. You can kind of start to be like, okay, this is going to have headliner, logo, date, and little descriptions. All the information is there, and it's a starting point of getting things rolling. They used an iPad, I believe, for this, because you can tell they have both handwriting and some square boxes. done it digitally. But again, they're not designing it yet. They're just getting the ideas out. Where do I want things to be on that page? That's all we're doing at this point. We're not designing. That comes next. What will happen next is we're going to pick our favorite, and then we're going to move forward with our favorite in 2 iterations. So that is what I need for your poster design. The start of your poster design. Any questions about that one? All right, cool. Well, that is it for me for today. Thursday, we're going to move on. We got a new assignment on Thursday as well to work on, and that will be an InDesign project for the rest of the semester. So you'll be moving back and forth. Tuesday will always be about the poster. Thursdays will be about the InDesign designer pamphlet, and we'll just kind of do one and one and one and one until we are done with the semester. So awesome. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll be back on campus on Thursday and feeling better. Thank you for everything. And you know where to reach me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or need to talk to me, you want to show me stuff, please do. You know how to do it. You know how to get a hold of me. So, all right. Take care. Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you, if not sooner, I'll talk to you on Thursday. All right. Bye-bye.